1355.
I can confirm the recording has started, and I'm going to turn off my microphone.
Okay. All right. Okay, so regular expressions, if you're not familiar with them, I just consider them sort of like pattern matching searches. And I have used them for about 20 years, mostly in MarcEdit. But a couple of years ago, Bill created a regex match search for us that has been really helpful at getting into maybe some subfields within fields that we haven't been able to get to with a regular mark search or a keyword search. And the things to kind of to know about them is you want to try to be as exact as possible with your match. And so that's getting really familiar with the field data that you're looking for. And one of my most valuable tools is just simply the Mark 21 um, guides to things like the leader or the 008 field, the fixed fields, uh, because uh, data is contained in specific bytes or positions. And so you have to know like what are the values that could be in that position and at exactly what position does that byte occur. Things like the leader and the 008 field, the counting in Mark kind of starts with 0, which can be confounding when you're trying to do math to figure out like where is the subfield for the fiction fixed field? Well, if you're talking about books in the 008 field, it's uh, byte 33. But if you were actually counting at the beginning of the field, starting and you started with 1, it would look like it was 34. So I go back to my mark guide regularly to double check what position I'm looking for. Um, and the regexes are particularly useful for getting into those fixed fields because they don't have indicators and they don't have subfields the way variable length fields do. And so if you're looking for something really specific, this can be helpful. So in my first example, this was, I think, a real world case where we had a patron who wanted to know how many black and white movies we had. And this became kind of an example for doing a pattern match on any of our video recordings because we have several format types. I could search the leader byte 6, looking for the video recording code, which is G, and then say the 300B should have like B and W or black or white to get that value. And then I also included our material type code. That's something we use at KCLS for formats. And those values are stored in subfield D. So I did a does not contain, and then the code for S, which is slides, because I don't want to see the slides. I just want to see the video recordings. I could do that search, get those results, put them into a basket or a bucket, and then I can repeat it and search for just contains B and ampersand W to get those older records. So that's kind of the first example we're looking at. So I will repeat this, but replace with B and W. And now I've got 1,600 results. So these are kind of older movies, and I can see that in the physical description field, B and W is here. So I think my search is probably pretty good. So that's um, that's how one of the ways that I use a regex match. And if you're not really familiar with these, this search contains some conventions um, that are part of using a regular expression. So the first character entered is a dot character, a period, and basically that means look for any character. Um, so it's like a wild card, and then it's followed by a number in curly braces, and it says I want any character 6 times until I get to position G or get to the position that has the G. So that's what I want at that byte. And then it's followed by another dot character, which also is any character, and then 17 times, because those all together, that is the length of the leader field. So it's very specific. Um, I could also probably use sort of a shortcut wildcard where I'm just saying uh, any character, any number of times. So that's what a dot and a star would would do. Um, and yeah, the thing to watch out for when you're doing these is use curly braces around the number, not uh, brackets or parentheses, because those mean other things in a regular expression. Um, so that's kind of the first example I had. And then my second example, ooh, okay, let's do this. Actually, let's do this. So if you can see my screen, hopefully, I swapped over to our testing server. And for the second example, where we wanted to find all of our bib records that have the deleted status in uh, byte 5 in the leader. Because if it had that character, it shouldn't be in our catalog. So it's an error of some kind. And I also paired it with another regex search on our material type code, which is stored in subfield D. And I've indicated regex match. And then I put into brackets A, V, and W. So A would be books, V would be ebooks, W is e-audiobooks. So those are kind of the main groups that we might expect. It could have errors that we care about. There are other material types too, but these are the ones I chose for my example. And um, again, oh, let's see. Things in the bracket, the square brackets here, those are like or commands, Boolean ors. So it's like, give me A or V or W. And when you enclose them in the brackets, then it says just look for any of those values. And I got 5 results. If I go into one of these records, we'll be able to see that yes, in the leader, at that byte, we have a D. And so that's some kind of a mistake because this has holdings, it shouldn't be deleted. Something's gone wrong, and then that's something we would want to fix. And you know, also on the handout, one of the things that helps me is almost to have a table of the fixed fields so that I can actually see what am I trying to grab, how many positions is it, or what byte is it, and is there anything else that I need to grab, so I can visualize it in my head. Okay, so in my next example, let's do this. All right. We have been doing a project at KCLS to convert all of our graphic novels that were classed in 741.59 and put them into a special adult graphic novel collection. And all the adult graphic novels will go into that new collection code. And so we have been using searches to find them and then send them, create new labels and send them to the branches. And now we're getting down to things like that are graphic novels, but they weren't put in 741.59. They're maybe in biography or in another Dewey number. And so this is a search that I created to find out if we had biography graphic novels that had like an unusually long cutter as part of the call number. So I'm going to say it starts with B. I want it to be followed by a space and any character from A to Z. And that's 10 or more characters long. And so by putting 10 in colon or comma, I'm saying it could be at least 10 characters. And then I'm pairing that with the search of the 655 field. Subfield A contains phrase, graphic novels, search, and I get one. I get one result, and I can see that this name, well, maybe I should open this up, be easier, is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters long, which is going to make it kind of hard to fit on a spine label. So it's kind of good to know, like, if we need to truncate that name so it will look good on a spine label when we print it. And the other thing to know about that search is that you could also um, say what is the maximum number of characters. Um, so if I said, well, I want between 1 and 10, I could express that. Okay. And another project, part of that same project that we're working on, I wanted to find things that were missing codes in the 008 field, particularly the code in the nature of contents byte that if it's a graphic novel, it should be coded 6, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's blank. And so, or maybe it'll have another value, but this will at least kind of get me to get me things that we've set our graphic novels and haven't been coded so that we can fix those. And so this was my regular expression. And again, it's like, I know that the nature of contents byte is at 24. So I'm telling it to look for any character 24 times. And then when you get to that specific byte, give me anything within those brackets. The caret character basically says anything but the 6. So it could be anything except the value of 6. And because there are 3 bytes for that, it's 24, 25, 26. Just give me anything that doesn't have a 6 3 times, because maybe that 6 is in the second position or it's in the third position. So this kind of covers all those scenarios. And then again, I want it to look for any character 6 more times until we get to uh, basically byte 33, which is where the literary form values are stored. And so I want it to look specifically for the codes of 1, F, and J for fiction, not specified, novel, and short stories. And then again, followed by another dot and uh, any character, lowercase A to Z, and then 3 more characters. So yeah, three characters there. I think that is basically for the language. And then I've just finished it with uh, any characters that follow that. I could also change this to English if I just wanted to look for them.
Hey, Libby, could you copy the value that you just put in there and put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the notes so
Okay,
we can deconstruct that.
oh, I need to take that out. Sure. Okay. So yeah, I got basically the same results, but specified that it was English. Okay. Let's see. Oh, did that not work? Okay, there we go. Okay, so um, anyway, it's the second part of that search was just looking at our call number in subfield A that starts with the GN, which is basically for us, it means adult graphic novel and a space. And then I'm getting these 23 things that I'm going to want to go in and fix because these are graphic novels. I'm pretty sure they're all graphic novels. And so then, like the other great thing that Bill created for us is something called the Mark Batch Edit Alternate. And so, like, how would I go about fixing these 23 items or bibliographic records? So I can put them into a basket. So 23 items in my basket, and I can add those to a bucket. Just say, fixed GN, fixed. And I have open bucket and new tab checked, which is also super handy. So I don't have to go looking for my bucket. I can just start working with it. And here is where we find batch edit alternate. And okay, so click on that. And then Bill actually built in sort of a sample regular expression replacement um, uh, code. So it's very helpful in kind of reminding us like how to set these up. And so in this case, I am going to want to say the field starts with equals, because that's how it looks in the flat text editor. And I imagine that's maybe how it's somewhat stored that way. And it's a 008 field followed by a space. And then I want it to, basically I'm repeating my first search. Any character. Oh, actually I want to put these in. This is when parentheses are important. Creating a group. So essentially this is my first group, and I want it to be preserved. So I'm putting it into group 1. And this is the value. This is the value that I want it to look for. And so anything that's not 6, and might say dot. And then I'm going to create my third group, teen. So this should get, oh, I need curly braces there. And so on the replacement side, I would type a $sign, and then I'm going to put one in curly braces and then explain kind of what I'm doing. And then a 6, and then a 3. And so on the replacement side, I'm basically saying when you replace this field, preserve group 1, replace group 2, and preserve group 3. And so the groups are enclosed in parentheses, and the curly braces around the 1 basically tell the system this is group 1, it's not group 16, because there's a 6 following the 1, and so it's sort of a convention in using regular expressions to indicate that the next value is going to be a number, because if I didn't have it, it would just look like it was group 16, which there isn't. And if there was, that could cause some problems. The next really great thing about this is that you can check to see if it's going to work or not and what it's going to do by double clicking into the grid row. So let's see. Oh, it's not going to do anything. Okay, so did I type something wrong? Probably. Six. Try another one. Oh, it didn't work. I should have tested this morning. Okay. Okay. Oh, maybe that was what I needed to do. Okay, there we go. So I can see what it intends to do. It's going to basically, this little plus and minus symbols, the minus symbol says it's going to delete that whole 008 field, and it's going to add the replacement 008 field. And I can see that it's going to put things back pretty much the way they were, but it's going to replace a blank for a 6. And the other great thing is I can actually see what the whole record will look like after the changes, so that I know that nothing bad is going to happen when I make this change. Uh, so it's not going to wipe anything out. Uh, and so that one looks pretty good. That one looks okay, and so forth. One of the things I might want to adjust if I actually do this is take into account whether there's a maybe a B subfield. But all of these are looking pretty good. And what I can't stress enough is to always check what it's going to do before you try using this tool, because it is very powerful. And while it will give you an option to stop if you say apply rule to bib records, it's really hard. It's harder to undo. Um, so, kind of have a backup plan and decide, is this really something I want to do? Um, and always test what your changes are going to be. And then I kind of wanted to show you the regular expression store in MarcEdit. If you have MarcEdit, and I highly recommend um, if you do any kind of record loading or record editing outside of Evergreen, MarcEdit, it's free and it is your friend. And Terry built this regular expression store, which I use to store my expressions so I don't have to keep them basically in Notepad, which is what I used to do. So this is where the store is. It's on the tools menu. And you can have your own. You can also search the public store. And I have created a lot of expressions for Evergreen. Some of them are just one use only, but I still like to kind of keep a record of what I've done. And if you were to go and search the public store, just look for EVG, and those will be Evergreen specific regular expressions. Most of them are matches, uh, search matches. So here's one that I created for looking for graphic novels. And this is the one where I was searching for black and white uh, video recordings. And so this is just a super valuable tool. And I use it anytime I need to use a regular expression. And also some other sources. Let's see if I can get. Okay. So some things like regular expression cheat sheets. Hopefully you can see that. And I have the link to it at the end of the handout, which has a lot more information in it than I've ever used. I really stick to very simple expressions, and I only basically learn what I need to know to solve a particular problem. So there's some very advanced features that I have never used. But you can get some explanations here. And then there's another one that's very helpful. This is basically a regular expression tester. And so I entered one of the expressions in my demo. It can be good for testing, and it can be good for kind of explaining what's happening. So this is the expression where I am looking for video recording codes in byte 6 in the leader. And so um, I pasted it in here, and then down under tools, it basically breaks down what's happened, what the dot character means, what the quantifier means, basically the character I'm looking for, and again, the dot character, and then the quantifier. And um, so if I'm doing something new, I will copy what I have in here and then see if it looks good, and then I'll test it in Evergreen and then probably retest it because things can go wrong. And kind of went through that really fast. Yeah, and the other invaluable tools, of course, are going in and finding out like the fixed fields, like what are my options? What byte am I looking for those options? So um, this is for the leader because I can't keep those all in memory. I need the computer to be my memory. And then this, I have a paper copy of this old gem called Understanding Mark. And this is the section on the leader. And I use this all the time because it tells me exactly, it's numbered from 00 to 23. And um, what it's expecting at each byte. And I just find this very, very readable and easy to use. I keep it on my desk. I refer to it all the time. So that, I kind of whipped through that really, really fast, but I also wanted to save some time for questions. So let me look at the chat. Oh, and also basically to talk about some limitations at the end of the handout. So it doesn't, the regex and Evergreen doesn't, the search doesn't look at indicators. So if you're trying to do something where trying to find funky indicators, it's not going to work for that. It doesn't look at those. It's basically looking at subfields or positions. They can also be costly in terms of memory. So if I need to search for something, I'll start with what my options are under keyword searching, and then mark searching, and then using a regular expression is sort of the last resort. Uh, one of the searches I did for black and white movies, I could have done a keyword search for, say, B&W, and then selected any of our like selected the G in the drop down menu under the advanced search. So if I said keyword search and I selected projected medium and said B&W, I can get those. It's a little harder if you just do a keyword search for black and white. So I thought using a regular expression or using a mark search would let me search specifically for the 300, and then use a regular expression to search for the leader to limit it to things that are video recordings. Um, and if you were doing, let's see, this search, if you were doing this specific search in um, Evergreen, and this is the testing server, and this is something I just learned last week. Uh, if I'm just searching for something in a fixed field and I haven't paired it with anything else that has a subfield and I have a search template selected, it will, Evergreen will look for a subfield value and it will give basically no results and sort of a weird little message in the subfield. So here I just selected default template, which meant basically it's nothing. But if I had one selected, say all title, then my search isn't gonna work. So that's just something to keep in mind. It works fine if you're anything else you're searching has a subfield, but if you're just searching for a fixed field, make sure that you do not have a search template selected. And I think other things to know, spaces are important in regular expressions. So if you're copying and pasting and you pick up a space at the end of whatever you copied, make sure you delete it. Otherwise, your expression will probably fail. Um, if a space isn't part of the pattern that you're looking for, and there are also the A to Z searches are case specific. There's ways to get around that, but I have not really tried it. So I always will specify exactly what I'm looking for by using upper or lowercase values. And so that's kind of the end of the presentation. And now I will see what questions we have in the chat.
I think everybody's trying to figure out how they get it for themselves.
Yes, and I will I will say I'm extremely cautious, and so if I think anything could go wrong, I'm usually dealing with a download of the MARC records. So
Mhm.
Gary, I'm totally with you. Um, I am I'm very, very careful about it. The other thing with MARC, the batch edit alternate, is that since you're working with a bucket and a bucket can only contain 1,000 records, you're not going to kill your whole database if something goes wrong, but just always check. Always check before you commit to making any of those changes. Um, and Mary, we have a different version of Evergreen. We're older, and also we're kind of on a different branch of Evergreen, and so we have code that um, not everybody has, but we're hoping that you'll get it. So that's part of the demo is like, you know, uh, we want to share.
And I think to make that happen then, because we're talking about this for a couple of different tools that you have that are great, is that we need somebody that's not a KCLS person to put in the request, if I'm following my last conversation with Bill about something like that. And so then he will, because I'm sorry, I'm stopping my thought in the middle of my phrase here. Then he will chime in and go, oh, yes, here is the information I have about it. And so then we have the community discussion about, okay, um, lots of testing. We start talking about what it means there. And I don't think that happens until we actually get something going in Launchpad so that we can start talking about specs and, if the version of the community version of like 315, the most recent one, if it's compatible with what Bill's done on an older version. So there's that kind of reconciliation that would need to happen. We need to start.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question then to make
Yes.
this more specific. Did you show us three different tools? I was trying to name them, but my note taking skills are off today.
I showed the regular expression store and Mark Edit
Right.
and um, sort of what I call the regular expression tester. I'm sure the site has a real name, but I tend to just make up my own names for the tools I use. So this is the tester, and this is the this is one of the cheat sheets um, that probably has more information than you ever need, but it mm, it's somewhat helpful. My cheat sheet actually is something that I got when I we were working with Innovative's Millennium ILS, and I needed to learn how to use regular expressions um, for searches and also for building and maintaining load import profiles. And so I have this 2007 paper copy of a tutorial that I took back then that was given by another librarian, and I just cling to it because it has all the good information in it. Um, Even though it applies to Millennium, I can adapt it for Mark Edit work or for Evergreen. And so it's kind of my Bible for regular expressions.
That's very helpful because if you just Google regular expressions cheat sheet, you're just going to be going down a lot of rabbit holes to find one that really works for you. This one's
Yes.
great.
Yeah. They're fun. They're fun to do. And but also, yeah, just keeping in mind they use memory and sometimes there's a just a simpler way to do something. But for the project that we're doing where we're changing all of these graphic novels, it's very helpful to find some of the things that have coding errors so that we can get them into that collection and sort of fix things up. We have really old records. I mean, we're an old system, so you know,
Just legacy. That's what you are.
we
You're a
have
legacy.
legacy. That's yes, that's a kinder word. We have legacy records that sometimes need cleanup. All right, I'll look back in chat again. And answer Darcy's question about the EVG Evergreen version with the Mark Edit. I would say there are a lot of features, or the functionality is mostly the same. I think that in Mark Edit, um, the searching is better. You can search for indicators. You can search for, the field begins with, and um, you can also search across subfields, which I don't believe you can do in a regex match search. If you're searching a field that has subfields, basically you have to specify which subfield you're looking for, and you can't go outside of that subfield to get other information. Um, you're not as exactly prohibited in changing things in the batch alternate. So you could change if you had bad indicators in a field. Let's say, like we use a 092 field for our call numbers for print. Um, Occasionally, uh, an indicator other than blank will creep in for something we downloaded from OCLC. So maybe we want to clean those up. They don't really have any effect on searching, but we might, want to make that a cleanup project. Um, so we wouldn't really be able to actually find those things with a regex search, but we could fix them if we did find them and put them into a bucket. So MarkEdit has more power for searching. The find and replace or the match and replace is pretty much the same. So I hope that helps. Um, market. It's also less scary to play in because you're really just dealing with a copy of your records and not the actual catalog. Um, that's where I've done most of my learning um, because we get a lot of records from different vendors for electronic resources that we import into the catalog, and we try to normalize those records before we put them in Evergreen. So MarcEdit is our go-to tool for uh, fixing up records before we import them.
Yeah, I think that how many times we talk about just doing presentations on MarcEdit too, but this just makes it a Superman version of MarcEdit, I believe.
Oh yeah, there are things I could show you in MarcEdit, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Part two.
Terry's presentation at the Evergreen conference last year was wonderful.
Hmm.
I mean, he's the expert and the hero in all of this.
Really is
The things he does for the community are amazing.
so responsive too.
Yeah.
So are you? I mean, this is because I only learned about Libby's library that you've shared in MarcEdit, but just in the last 6 months or so. And I think it's just incredible because we anybody with MarcEdit can see what you've done and what you've shared to use your regular expressions. I didn't know that was a thing until you told me. So you've taught me so much this year already. It's
Oh,
lovely.
yay. Yeah. It's so helpful. Okay, well, because other people have contributed. And so I looked at what they did and I'm like, oh, I could adapt that
Hmm.
and use it.
And
So
share it.
I
That's
love
what's
sharing.
fabulous. It really is. Absolutely wonderful. And I was just spending a lot of time with the handout while you're talking too. It's a very nice handout. I've uploaded it so that I could link it on the notes too. So it's
Oh, awesome.
now in our shared folder. I'll get it on the wiki. Okay, so the question is, who wants to join an exploratory, I'm not going to call it committee, group, fun time gang to start looking at what it takes to get one or two of these. We can start with the search tool, right? We're not going to hurt anything with the search tool. We're not going to start editing things, but we can start with the search
Right. Yeah.
tool. So, and that was, I know that I don't always sound serious, but that was a serious call for volunteers. So anybody interested in working with Livy and me to investigate how close this is to being compatible to current Evergreen, and then working with Bill and others, and anyway, figuring out what it's going to take.
Um, well, I guess I could because, I really want it.
Yes,
Don't have time for the next couple of months,
I
but,
know.
in theory,
It could be, a snow day thing in January.
I could
No, I think
probably
whatever
do
time we
January.
have, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, just
yeah.
with the upgrade, new
Hmm.
libraries and stuff, where I'm going to be using regular expressions to
Hey,
help build we have a new library that does not have access to their MARC records from their old
my
ILS.
heaven.
And so I'm going to be building them and their item records in MarcEdit, of course, so that I can load them into Evergreen.
There you go. You're going to be a Mark. Well, you're already very good at Mark Edit, but man. And now you've got a library of regular expressions that you can add to as you're doing all of that.
Oh, I already knew about the library,
Yes.
and I have a couple of, regular expressions
Mm-hmm.
cheat
To
things,
add. Mm-hmm.
but
Cool.
I really don't know it enough to do all that much.
I think
But thank you.
no, that's lovely. Yes. Thank you, Livy. This is great. It's inspirational to just show how much we can do. Just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of, and I like that you shared the testers too, because that's another thing that I'll get stuck and go, well, that didn't work. And then I just stop. It's really good to have another option.
Yeah.
So,
What I find is that, yeah, I'll try something and it doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, is it not working because there isn't anything there to find? Or did I not do this? Did I not get the math right? And so then I'll go back and I'll like count, like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, that wasn't the right number of things that it needed to look for. And so it's a lot of adjustment. There's so much trial and error in doing these. And um, it's just, I've used these for 20 years and, I'm still figuring things out, but I kind of have a high enthusiasm to learn. So I'm willing to, to try to learn it and figure it out.
See, I'm already imagining one step beyond. Okay, so now we've got the very cool mark search in Evergreen for everybody, and then we start embedding these tools. So we could just click on a button and suddenly there's your page that tells you, the counts. You don't have to count anymore. It tells you the position things are in, and so we don't all have to keep it on our desktops and in my 3-ring binder anymore. Just click on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I used to keep all my regular expressions in a notepad
Mm-hmm.
text file, but now the store is better. And then I have my notes and it's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
cleaner. And so I use that. And yes, Jessica, they're very helpful in dealing with ebook records. But MarkEdit is your tool for is a little bit tool for that, I think. But anyway,
I would like to note next cataloging interest group meetings. The program for October, we had said we would postpone that because
That's correct.
because
Because that's not going to happen. So that's what happens when I pulled notes from 2 months ago. So that's not going to happen. There's an announcement in
not in
October.
October. It'll
Yeah.
happen some other time. Just again, upgrade that weekend. So
Yeah.
busy.
Okay, we will find something fun and distracting for October. Thanks for that. Yeah, I think I just
Don't
went
give
back
me
to
a heart attack.
no, no. I'm just going to strike it right through. See, no problem. What? There's names. No, gone.
Because I think we did discuss that in maybe
Oh
the
yeah.
interest group.
Hmm. Oh, I absolutely
Uh,
remember. Yep.
people,
And of course,
but I
my
think we
secret
had
is
put when everything was. So anyway,
yeah. Well, my secret is I copied last month's agenda into this month's, and so if it was on
oh
there, so that's all. That's all that was.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, next month, September, no formal schedule as of right now. So if anybody has it, well, and that was intentional. We're just going to have the cadence of, have a formal program and then take a month off. And so that it will also be September's the month before bug squashing week will happen again in October. So who knows? We'll see what's going on with bug review. And if we find that there's a crossover that would be helpful getting ready for that, we will do that. This has been great. Thank you so much, Libby. We'll get the recording up on so on the wiki. I just said the wiki like 4 times and I forgot how to say it. So we'll get that up so we can share with everybody. And I'll even send it out to the list then, so people that might have missed. Because I feel like this is probably the, not joking, I would say probably the first of several conversations we could have about regular expressions, just seeing how we can use them. Just querying is magic. It really is to get what we want. Good job. Oh gosh, and we are 1 minute over. I don't think anybody's coming to take our room. But thank you all for being here. I wish you all a very pleasant rest of August. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.